Okay, so from that philosophical and practical start to the first morning, we are now going to segue seamlessly into something a bit more dramatic. And I'd like to welcome onto the stage the guys from the Heritage, Harvest Heritage Arts and Media. Is it Anna and Peter, who are going to share us with us and cultivating stories that inspire. So this is all about the anatomy of a story, breaking down a story into its constituent elements and parts. So, like a medieval dissection room, let's welcome Anna and Peter to the stage.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. So, my microphone's not working.
Is mine working yet? Yes. Ah, lovely. Thank you very much. So thank you very much for that introduction. I'm Anna Farthing, this is Peter Clifford. We're from Harvest Heritage Arts and Media. And what we do is we cultivate stories that inspire, or at least that's our tagline. What we're here to do today is to talk to you about the anatomy of story. So we're going to take some stories apart, have a look at their skeletons, their fleshy bits, their locomotive parts and their psychologies. But we've only got half an hour, so we'll
It's a brief introduction to the anatomy of story and its underlying principles is what we're planning on doing.
Could we get our slides up, please? No, that's the one. Thank you very much. So, once upon a time, we all came here to the Arnold Field.
So we'd just like you to, in your tables, to start getting you talking to each other. Just say how you got here. Just amongst yourselves in your tables, just say how you got here. Just tell each other how you got here. Gentlemen, you can have your attention again, please. You can all started to introduce yourselves. Is my microphone working, or am I just having to shout? Is this working? Excellent. I can tell. Can't tell. It's beautiful, Ali. Beautiful balance. So, you've told each other how you got here, and that could have gone a couple of different ways.
Peter, how did you get here?
I came on the bus. Anna, how did you get here?
Well, I was going to come on the bus, but then I thought, actually, as it's raining, I thought I'd drive. But then I thought, well, actually, if I drive, I probably won't find anywhere to park. So I went to get my bike out of the garage, but actually I couldn't find the garage key because my son had a key at the weekend. And when eventually I got the garage door open, I realised that my bike was behind the lawnmower. Now, we didn't cut the grass this weekend, and it's really, really heavy because it's full of grass. Eventually I managed to get the lawnmower out of the way, and I got the bike out, but actually it had a flat tyre. So, and I'm not feeling terribly fit, so I was kind of umming and ahhing about whether to cycle. And then I thought, well, I don't know, how am I going to get down the hill? Sorry, I'm not going down the hill, but how am I going to get back up again if I cycle? It's going to be absolutely exhausting.
Who got it?
Storytelling?
Neither of those were really a story, I don't think. Mine was a fact.
And mine was a sequence of events, neither of which are actually a story.
Yours was sounding quite like a story.
Oh, thank you.
But it didn't pull things together. I think a story you need to know what to leave out. That was going off on tangents. You were gradually moving forward and gradually moving towards what I asked. But it was sort of going off at tangents and we started to lose track of what I actually asked you.
Completely lost the point.
So I think story is a lot about knowing what to leave out.
And what to put in. A Peter's story of I came on the bus. It doesn't give me anything, does it? It's a fact, but it's not really engaging me. I'm not interested anymore. I could have been quite interested. I wonder whether you started yours with how you got here physically, or whether maybe it started with one day I put my finger in a hole in the ground and I discovered nature. How far away from the target did you start? Maybe starting with that. As a child, I was interested in bugs is actually the most interesting way to start.
Did anyone start like that? Did anyone start sort of metaphorically while they're here, or did everyone...
Yay!
You're there, that's good.
I said it was a long journey. It began a very long time ago.
My
A
mother
long,
and father
long
met.
time
In fact,
ago.
no, their grandparents met. No, they.
Many stories begin, don't they? Once upon a time, a long, long time ago. To begin at the beginning.
I think the things to leave out are the things that don't move the story forward. That doesn't mean you can't embellish, doesn't mean you can't describe, doesn't mean, but anything that doesn't move the story forward, you can leave out and keep in only the things that you need to keep in to keep the story going. If it's not moving the story forward, if the story's not moving, the story's dead.
And how you decide what to leave in and leave out depends on who the story is for. And we have some principles. What is it that all good stories share?
Principles as opposed to rules, because rules say you have to do it like this, whereas principles tend to be more underlying elements that make things work. So we're just going to talk briefly about a couple of underlying principles that are in stories that can make a story work. So,
I work a lot in the heritage sector. Funnily enough, some of our principles for heritage come from the person who first engaged people with national parks in America. And his name was Freedom Tilden, and he had some principles for interpretation. And he published these principles in 1951, and we've been using them ever since. And those principles are provoke, relate, and reveal.
and in drama, you have a similar set of principles, which is hook 'em, hold 'em, payoff.
Or,
Yeah, so hook 'em, hold 'em, payoff. Or, as a primary school teacher said, start with an explosion, end with fireworks. Which I think is lovely. I think it's right.
so I just want to unpick provoke, relate, reveal a little bit. Provoke the interest of your audience. Now, I might be fascinated in where the keys to the garage were, but actually Peter wasn't. So provoke the interest of your audience and know who that audience is. Relate to the interest of that audience. Relate to something that is about their lives, about their experience, about their concerns, about their day-to-day living, if you like. And reveal. And the main thing about reveal is reveal the main point through the ending or through the climax. It's not usually a good idea in storytelling to tell people what it's about at the beginning. Let them do something, let them work it out, let them actively engage in the meaning making. So 1951, I think it's pretty good. I still use it all the time. And in terms of a dramatic one.
Also, hook 'em, hold 'em, in terms of leaving things out and letting people do the work, it would be like saying 2 + 2 = 4. If you just go 2 + 2, then everybody in the room is suddenly going, that's 4. Is that going to be 4? Is it going to say 4? Is that going to be 4? It gets you involved because it makes you start thinking. 2 × 3. 6 × 7. That's Douglas Adams. Suddenly it comes in. Hold it. I'll talk to you.
However, in order to provoke, relate, reveal, or hook 'em and hold 'em, you need characters. And some other things. Characters, but you also need plot.
Plot, setting, we'll come to that in a moment.
Yes, I'm ahead of myself on the slides. Never mind. Okay, so characters. Characters, we need someone to care about. We need someone on which, or something perhaps, on which we are going to project our emotions. We need a character that we can invest in, that we can engage our emotional and imaginative energy in completing and bringing further to life. Now, there's a reason why children and animals are often used as hooking characters in stories. Because children and animals cannot tell their own story, as we heard earlier, nor can birds. We project life and meaning and history onto animals and children because they are beautifully blank. What have you got there, Peter? What is it?
Rocky.
And what is Rocky?
It's my raccoon.
You brought your raccoon.
I did. I knew you were going to go on a bit, so I thought that.
There's also a reason why they say actors should never work with animals and children, because animals and children constantly upstage what the actor is trying to do. The actor has text, the actor has staged movement, and the animal and the child is being spontaneous and eating all the available energy in the room, and everybody is projecting onto this relatively inanimate character all of their feelings, all of their desires. Why?
This is the right way to feed him.
Yes.
This is the wrong way.
Actually, Peter's making me sneeze. I'm really allergic. Are we allowed to have live animals in here? Savita, I don't, yeah, well, I don't think so. Actually, I think the Arms Feeling has a no live animals policy.
No live animals?
No live animals, Peter. I'm sorry. No live animals. Did we prove the point?
Because as soon as an animal hasn't got, it's like we were saying earlier on the, what was the name of the honeybird? Honeybird that you... Honeyguide. You start imbuing the animal you see with, you open the door and you see animals doing things, you imbue them with your thoughts, your imagination. So if you've got a character not saying anything, that's, you have to involve yourself. You have to imagine what the character's thinking. That's why Wall-E was so successful as a film, because it didn't say a thing all the way through, and you have to imbue what you're watching with. I mean, there'll be clues as to what's going on with the love story and everything, but you involve yourself, and as soon as you put yourself there, then you're engaged with the story in a much deeper way. And that's why you should never work with children and animals, and why they'll upstage you. It's just, but it's also why leaving things out. It's leaving. Glenn Close always says that she always has a secret. She always gives her character a secret, because you as an audience, you'll sense that. You'll sense that, and you'll go, oh, there's something more happening. You always give your character a secret.
There is a difference between storytelling and telling. Storytelling is all about engaging the audience to fill in the gaps. Sorry, am I doing my comment? Telling is just delivering information. And Freeman Tilden said interpretation is not the delivery of information. It's a completely different thing. So, sorry Rocky, now I feel really guilty. Plot.
Should we do a plot?
Yes, let's do plot. So, plotting, structure. Structure. A story has a beginning and a middle and an end. It has a structure. The great epic sagas, the great Norse sagas, all the great medieval sagas that went on and on and on and on and on and on and on, even then people found a bit of it to tell, which had a beginning, a middle and an end. So whatever your story is, it needs to know where it's going and it needs to know when it's finished. It doesn't necessarily mean it has an act of closure, but it does mean that it needs to know when it's finished. So stories have a beginning and a middle and an end, and we'd like to really put ourselves on the spot now and make some up.
We're going to try, yeah, so we'd like to, can you give us some characters? If you can think of a character, we need characters, two characters, one male, one female preferably, and a situation, and then we'll try and create a quick story just to show something about structure that we can do. So, any ideas for a character? Yes, please.
A canoe.
A canoe? A canoe? That's
male or female canoe?
Which?
Thank you.
Excellent. Volunteer as a male canoe.
Perhaps a dead
A dead raccoon is going to be very difficult to make a story from.
Actually, we have human character.
Human character.
We need to communicate.
Alison the Hunter.
Alison the Hunter. Thank you.
Alison the Hunter
Alison the Hunter.
And a canoe. Man dressed as a canoe. Alison the Hunter and a canoe. Talking canoe.
Okay.
Okay. Since no one else is helping me out.
All the activists.
This what?
Or the activist.
The activist. Alison the hunter and the activist.
Okay.
A GNU activist.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. We can try and do that. And where are we?
On a bus.
On the bus. Okay.
Bristol.
Okay, on a bus in Bristol. And how have we got there? Well, so we need 3 scenes now. We just need 3 scenes: a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Stuck in
Stuck in
the traffic.
a traffic jam. Because we're in Bristol. Stuck in a traffic jam.
Who went from Nairobi this morning?
Pardon?
Who went from Nairobi this morning?
Flew in from Nairobi this morning, the canoe. being chased by Anna the hunter.
Who's commandeered a bus.
Who's commandeered a bus, who's maybe the traffic jam, maybe Anna the hunter's caused the traffic jam.
Okay. That's scene 1. That's the beginning. So in the beginning, Alison the hunter, and Peter the GNU from Nairobi met on a bus in a traffic jam.
Okay. What happened?
They fell in love.
Oh, I love it!
They fell in love.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So that's the middle.
That's interesting.
That's the middle.
And then what happened? He's shocked. What?
There was an accident.
There's an accident and they died horribly. Were they?
So what happens at the end? What's the end?
They got arrested.
They got arrested for interspecies romance. This wasn't your idea.
This was not.
Okay. Right, 3 scenes.
I thought they were going to take it. So,
Scene 1. I kill things! I am Alison the Huntress! Where's the next thing I can mount on my mantelpiece? To the centre, please! Hi. Where are you from?
Nairobi.
Nairobi.
Going to work.
Have you been in Bristol long?
Oh, I came for a conference. Flew in this morning. I'm from Nairobi. I'm an activist.
Are you an activist that represents anything in particular?
Anti-hunting lobby.
You know, I shouldn't like you, but strangely I do. How do we know?
We got arrested, didn't we?
Did we get arrested? Oh, right, okay, sorry.
He's going to come up and arrest us.
Oh my God! Look! It's the species police.
No, thank you very much. Yeah. So,
Just awesome GNU.
well, I couldn't have done it without you. And the Nairobi hit was wonderful, thank you. And I did have a secret.
Now, we did say that a story has to have a beginning and a middle and end, but it doesn't actually have to happen in that order.
doesn't need to start. So you might find something. So your narrative, the chronological narrative, will be beginning, middle, and end. In terms of that, it will have its own beginning, middle, and end when you start. But you don't have to start in the storytelling. You don't have to start there and go through chronologically. You can jump in.
So what we just did was we did the beginning,
the middle,
and the end. But what we could do
is we could start.
the end.
We start at the end.
I've just taken the end and put it up here.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, and then go back to the beginning, and so we'll just try. We'll just for fun. We'll just quickly try that. So the beginning, the end is the.
The end, the beginning. It's the species police! Oh! I'm
20 minutes
Alison the
earlier.
Huntress. I am Alison the Huntress, and I kill things and I put them on my mantelpiece. A bus. To the centre, please. Where are you from?
Nairobi.
Have you been here long?
Flew in this morning.
What do you do?
I'm an activist.
What sort of an activist?
Anti-hunting league.
I shouldn't like you, but I do.
So that was just very briefly. So you don't, because the hook. If you want a hook, the hook might not be the once upon a time at the beginning. The hook might be further on. I mean, lots of television programs and Breaking Bad. Anyone Breaking Bad fans? Oh, can't go past midway through season 2. Anna's
I'm very behind.
catching up, but
I still don't know why that eyeball's floating in the swimming pool.
exactly. So
Don't tell me.
season 2 starts with the eyeball floating. The opening shot is the eyeball floating in the swimming pool, and it's not until near the end that you find out why it's there. And then, so that's like a whole series, there, and then
American Beauty,
within
the man dies at the beginning, and it's his story that is told throughout.
perfect one. Memento is an extreme version of that. If anyone's seen Memento, it's about a man who's got no memory, and to convey that, or he's got very short-term memory. He can't remember things very long. And to convey that to the audience, to give the audience the sense of that, they start the very end of the film. They start the beginning of the film that you're watching. It's the very end of the story, the very end of the narrative, where he shoots someone. And let's say it's in 5 sections. Let's say it's in A, B, C, D, E. So they start at the end of E, bang! And then it jumps back to the start of E and goes through to the end of E. So you see how that bit comes there, but you don't know why he's there.
And then they play D. So we get the whole of D up to the beginning of E.
And then you go C, and they start and C, and you go all the way up to this beginning. You don't know there, and then it goes to
B goes right the way through to the beginning of C.
and then goes right to the start of the narrative and goes up to the beginning, the end of A, and the beginning of B. And at this point, so cleverly constructed. At this point, the reveal of why and how that thing happened at the very end of the story that happened at the very beginning of the film
B.
is revealed at the end of E, is revealed at the end of A. It's just so beautifully constructed. But if you have that as a narrative, it's a fairly simple, clear story going through, but it really makes the audience work to be involved in it. And because you're working, because you're concentrating on the plot, you're really keeping up with it. And you're much more involved. I find it incredible. I find it really involving intellectually and emotionally and story-wise.
If you've got a fairly straightforward story, try chopping it up. It can make it much, much more compelling for an audience.
This story's not very long.
Campaigning stories can be stories, can be short stories, can be micro stories, can be sound bites. But if you analyse some of the most successful campaigning sound bites, they actually follow these principles of story. So I shall throw a couple out for you, but then I'd like you just to talk amongst yourselves again and think of some more. So we've got a couple. We've got think before you drink, before you drive.
Kill your speed, not a child.
Don't die of ignorance.
So who just for yourselves, think what's the character and what's the story that is in those fewer than 2 seconds. There is a complete story which involves character. There's a hook. There's a payoff.
You're expecting something to
You
happen.
get a
Think
sample.
once, think twice, think like. You just talk among yourselves. Who are the characters? What is the hook? What is the hold? What is the payoff?
Just give you 2 minutes to do that. So.
Please. Okay, thank you. We just share a couple of very quick examples of that.
So has anyone got one that they chose and they looked at?
So you look at.
Any table.
Kill your speed, not your child.
Yep.
And it was very much linked with the imagery from the advert of where there's a bit of slow motion and replay back.
It was, yes.
Kill your speed, not your child, where the slow motion.
Could we have the mic up, please?
Kill your speed, not a child. Say, kill your speed, not a child, and they, oh yes. There you go.
Kill your speed, not your child. And particularly where the advert, the imagery, the very powerful imagery of the advertisement, where the child is on the bonnet of the car and then goes back to the side of the road, and if the driver had been going slower, it would have been a different situation.
Yeah.
And the story structure.
So,
The story structure again, you start with the impact, literally, unfortunately, and then that hooks you in.
And in that, who are the characters?
Sorry, the child you're projecting, but you do see
Child.
things from a driver's perspective as well,
And
So-
and also
so-
a pedestrian's perspective.
And if you're seeing it from the driver's perspective, who's the driver?
Yeah,
You are. You are. I think that's how that one hooks you, because it's killer speed. It's suddenly it's a command. Should we look at another one?
Yeah.
It's a command. It's a command to you.
to you.
So it instantly hooks you in. Instantly.
We have
hooks.
one more to take apart from this side. Yes, please.
It was amazing that so quickly we had exactly the same sort of story going on with think before you drink, before you drive. Immediately we were both there as the driver, and we didn't have much time to discuss the upshot, but I certainly had very visual picture of mangled kind of corpses, blood and destruction. That was the other character kind of dead, and basically that's as much as the flash would give me, but it does take you right back to the message.
Slightly different campaigns done in America. So think before you drink, before you drive is you driving. In the States, they said don't let your friends drive drunk, which got people to be responsible for somebody else. And I'm just saying that in your kinds of campaigns, when you're asking people to be altruistic and be responsible for somebody else, then things like think once, think twice, think like, and think kill your speed, not a child, are about you doing something which is for somebody else's benefit. In a similar way as don't let your friends drive drunk. Whereas a lot of campaigns are about yourself. Don't die of ignorance. That's me.
And the campaign the kill your speed, not a child. It could have come in with the number of children killed by speeding drivers, number of speeding drivers that there are, how many injuries. But none of that's really relevant to the story. The main story is if you go too fast and you hit a child, you will kill them. And then puts the person in that by saying, don't kill your speed, not kill a child.
Okay.
That's just very briefly a brief story.
Okay. So just, if I may.
I just want to say one thing, just about truth. When someone's asking about truth, I always have a phrase that comes into my head, which is trust those that say they seek the truth, doubt those who say they found it. And I think it's always that from poetry and science, you are seeking the truth all the time. As long as you remember that you're seeking it and you haven't found it, it helps. I find that helps me.
So that kind of answers the question about should there be an
Animals.
Anyway, you said we would talk about the anatomy. So we're just going to look at an anatomy. So, we have our headline. Yeah, we have our headline thing. What is it that we're trying to say? We have in our arms, if you like, we have the different things that the different stuff that we can carry along. We've got plot, we've got character, we've got structure. We've got all these things that we're carrying. In the heart of the matter, we've got to care. We've got to have something that actually touches people's hearts. And the means of locomotion, whether that is a documentary, or a print campaign, or a brochure, or a social media campaign, if you like, that's the legs. So you're carrying the head, regardless of the medium, and you have these techniques. And so this is the anatomy of storytelling.
And there's obstacles.
Yes. And of course, have a pay.
There we go. Thank you very much for listening. We're around during coffee, so if you want to ask us anything, please do.
And we'll be back tomorrow morning.
May you all live happily ever after.